Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're going to try to get this shaper stand finished so that we can move on and start working on the shaper. But before we start, we got a sticker in the mail a few days ago from Paul over at the Haxby Shed. And he's over in the UK. He's in the Yorkshire region, I believe. It's kind of the northern part of the country there. He's got a great channel, a lot of good content, really good guy. He's been working on a welding positioner that he made, shop made, and he's been trying to adapt a VFD drive to it. He just had a recent video, which is a great video, good information on VFD inverter drive. So definitely check him out if you haven't seen him. Give him a thumbs up and a sub. And I'll put a link down below to his channel. Good channel, great guy. You definitely want to see him. And then here's, I got it on the big screen up here. That's his channel. Okay, all right, let's get started and get this stand finished. Alright, we're tacking these on, then we're going to weld them once we confirm that we're on center. We're just a hair off on this one, but it's just a wheel, so it's not that critical. Alright, just a little mock-up here on how this is going to go together. So we've got our threaded rod is drilled, tapped, and counterbored. We got our coupling nut welded on. So we're going to start with this backup washer. So it goes on first, something like that. Okay, and then our wheel goes in here. Like that. And then we run the washer down. So the washer's there to stabilize the wheel, to get full contact on the bearing. Okay, and then we can run it up and down. All right. So then, next thing we got to do is figure out where we're going to weld these on. You know, because we have some adjustment here, and also where we're going to cut off this rod and put a cross bar in there. Alright, let me see if I can do this and not knock the camera over. just going to take the threads off. I'll do a little deburring there. Okay, I think that'll do it. Okay, so for our cross pins, just going to take just a long hex bolt. We're just going to turn the hex off just to give it a little bit of a knob instead of a, you know, end of a bolt. Just trying to figure out how long to make these handles. So I got a center mark there, so roughly the end. So it's not critical, just trying to get a good visual. So I'm going to, I got a few of these little, some kind of nuts. So I'm just going to put them in the lathe, take this flange off and do a couple threads on the end, and that'll finish off our little cross handle. Alright, ready to go to the welding bench. Get this welded up. Okay guys, well I was having a heck of a time with the welding. I was gonna try to show some weld shots, but oh, things were just going bad. I was getting a ton of porosity and had to grind out half the weld, re-weld it, and then a lot of grinding to make it look somewhat presentable. Yeah, no excuses. I'm just still getting comfortable with this MIG, and I've been experimenting with dual shield using CO2. It was a very windy day, and I'm down to the bottom of that tank, and it's a very old tank. I've just been trying to use it up, and I'm going to call that tank done and switch over to another tank that I have. So yeah, I don't know, maybe my wire had some moisture in it, I don't know, but I was just having a heck of a time. Tons of porosity, and like I said, I had to grind most of the welds out and redo them. Just not good. But anyways, it's gonna hold, and it's time to give this an Earl Scheib's paint job, and then we'll work on the fitment. Alright, we're giving this a test. This is the final assembly for the wheels. So here's how these front ones came out, and I've already tested it. Works, seems to work really good. So let me put the camera on the tripod, and then we'll show how it works. All right, so the wheels are in the retracted position right now, and we're just sitting on the ground. And I had to shim this side because we had the weeble wobble issue, so it's pretty good. Pretty solid. I'm sure I'll have to adjust that depending on where we end up using it, as this floor is not consistent. The grade changes, the slope changes, there's some humps and bumps and so forth. But anyways, so that's that. So then to raise it up, grab our handle here, and you guys saw this part before, so I got to make a thumb screw for that. Okay, we go into the holding position there, like so, and you just crank these down, and they crank down pretty easy, so I don't think it'll be a problem when we have the full weight, but I mean, there you go. It's real easy to move around, so hopefully that'll do the job. So now what I got to do, I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to take these legs apart, take the top off, and we're going to get ready to repaint everything and put the shelf in. So there's just too many things to ignore. You know, there's a lot of little dingleberries and spots where the paint's been chipped off and rubbed off and so forth. Spots like this. I'm not going to do a complete strip down. I'm just going to, you know, address these areas, try to feather them out, and give everything a, you know, a decent light sanding before we paint. And I'm going to take the top off, obviously. I don't know what I'm going to do yet with the wood, if I'm going to try to add some more varnish or oil or just clean it. We'll make that assessment once we get it off. So I was going to go with this color, but let's go over to the shaper and take a look at what I found over there. I mentioned before that the down feed and also the cross feed assembly looked like they had been repainted. They're a different color gray. So after taking a little closer look, it's actually the other way around. This kind of olive grayish color is actually the repaint. And you can see that right in here where they kind of stopped with the brush and didn't finish hitting this or the down feed. So pretty sure this is not the original color. And then after looking a little deeper, I'm not sure that that is either. So let me get you around over here. So here's our counter shaft, and you can see it's that same color gray that's on the down feed. And then here's some splash over of the repaint. Okay. But then I got to dig in a little deeper, and I looked behind this shiv here, and it looks like it's a blackish color. Let me grab a light. Okay, well, maybe with the light on it, it is that same color gray. It's really hard to tell. Yeah, I think it is that same color gray. Okay. All right, now let me show you one other thing. All right, so here's the guards and the oil pan. So if we look at the guard, it's that same olive gray color. But if we look on the inside, let me get it flipped over here the right way. See, there's a different color there where they got, whoops, where they got lazy and missed a spot. And this is more of a like a tannish color gray. So I did a little more digging, and my plan all along was to use this oil pan for color matching. So I got to looking at it, flipped it over, and I guess that's the same color gray. It's kind of dark. It seems to be a little darker, but it could be that it's just such a thin coat that some of the cast iron color is coming through. And then you can see all the globules here of whoever painted it. So then I did a little more investigating and did a little wet sanding here on the edge. It's kind of hard to hold. All right. This is a different color. It matches what's on the inside of the belt guard there. So, okay. What is the original color? And I think I've concluded that it's this dark gray color is the original color. Okay. And I would prefer to keep everything original, but I'm not a fan of that dark gray. Okay. So I had to try to decide, do I try to match this one or the most recent color? All right, so let's go over to the bench and I'll show you what we ended up doing. Okay, so as much as I would like to keep the original color, it's just not doing anything for me. And it's my machine. I want it to look the way I want it to look. So we're going with this color. And you can see this spot right here. That's where they tested the color match. So I went over to the local Sherwin-Williams dealer and had them do a color match. We're going with the gloss. And this is their, they call it the all-surface enamel. It's actually, they used to call it the architectural enamel. And I lucked out. There wasn't much of this left. They can't restock any of this new here in California anymore, but they had a few on the shelf. So I lucked out. They still had some. So anyways, we got it color matched, and you can see on the tape there, that's the other half of when they tested it there. So that's what we're going with. I just didn't want to have that dark color. And this is fairly similar to the South Bend gray, but it's different enough that it'll, you know, kind of set it apart from looking like a South Bend machine, which I like the South Bend color, but I want it to have its own color. So anyways, that's what we're going with. I'll put up a still shot probably toward the end of this formula, so in case anybody wants to use the same color formula, you'll be able to take a screenshot of that. I went out to my scrap pile, and I've got a couple of these old growth redwood boards here, and they came out of the house. So our house is 72 years old, and this was part of a original bookcase that was built into the house that we changed the layout a little bit. But yeah, you don't throw this stuff away. I mean, this is old growth, clear heart redwood, you know, same age as the house, or cut at the same time as the house. So no telling how old of a tree this came out of, but man, you know, you can probably find stuff like this, but man, it's going to cost you top dollar. This stuff just isn't around anymore. And just to show you another example, here's a 2x4 that came out of the house from another project, and I mean, look at that grain structure. I mean, modern lumber just isn't like that. I mean, this is probably 3 times stronger than a 2x4 you would get nowadays. So yeah, I save anything that I remove, you know, that's in good condition, just for projects like this. Okay, so we've got a split down here, so I already got a layout line, so we want to get past that split. And then it's about 29 inches long. I got another line here. We do have a couple nail holes, and this edge has a rabbet because there used to be some paneling behind this bookcase, so that it allowed for that paneling. And then the ugly part is it's been painted, of course. Yeah, ugly paint. So this will be the bottom, but I'm going to try to strip it. I'm going to try to get the paint off. I mean, just a shame to paint, you know, anything that's just nice. So anyways, that's the plan. I'm going to work on getting this cut out. So it goes in here like this. I already test fitted the carriage bolts. So there we go. Now it's got a little bit of rocking, so I'm going to have to shim it. The board is flat, so it's the casting that's out. Alright, I'm in the backyard. I don't want to get this stuff all over the garage. So last night I coated this with citrus strip. There you go. I got a few tools here. And it says wrap it with plastic, or cover it with plastic. I'm not sure we're supposed to wrap it or cover it, but I did like half and half. So I'm going to see if this stuff will come off. Well, so far, this stuff is pretty impressive. doing a one-hand camera hold here, so hopefully you guys can see that. But man, look at that. Wow. Okay, all right, let me keep going. Been sanding on these for about, maybe a couple hours. That's all we're gonna get. Just doing a little cleanup on the top mounting surface of these legs, and all I'm doing is just going over with a with a large flat file. And originally I thought these were milled, but this is just as it was cast, and amazingly it's pretty dang flat for just a cast surface. So I'm not going to do a whole lot, just kind of knocking down some of the high spots. Okay, I'm all set up in the backyard here, ready to paint. Got some makeshift sawhorse things, and we got just some bolts and some threaded rods so we can flip these over as we go. Got a few tools ready to go here. These little weenie rollers, they work really good. Okay, so try to get this done before the wind comes up. It's a nice calm day so far. All right, so finished these about 20 minutes ago. They're just cooking out here in the sun. So far the weather's cooperating. It's not just a light breeze blowing. This paint tacks over pretty fast, so should be okay. It's a slow dry though. This stuff really takes like a month to harden up. Picked up a couple of little gnats here, and if that happens, you just leave them. You don't try to pull them out or anything. You can usually just clean those off pretty easy after a couple of days. All right, well, we're in the waiting process now. We're gonna go have some lunch. So it looks like this is going to be the way to go. I mean, it's soaking into the wood, so the pores of the wood are open. So I think my guess was correct that that this is just an oil finish. Kind of weird. So linseed oil has a very distinct odor, and it's very pleasant normally. This stuff smells completely different than anything I've used for the last 30, 40 years that was called boiled linseed oil. So I don't know what's different, but something's definitely different, although it still seems to be working. So we're going to go with it. Just thought that was very unusual. Okay, I'm going to let this stuff soak in for about an hour. I'm going to go make a sandwich, and then we'll wipe off the excess. All right, so I'm happy with the way our linseed oil finish came out. It's been a couple days now for the stuff to set up. Of course, this is the bottom side. And the top side still looks about the same, just a little more consistent. So I'm going to start prepping this to reassemble. Okay, here it is, all back together. Our color match is off just a little bit, but you know what? It's going to be fine. We did end up with a couple of blemishes on the shelf, and it was mainly like drippings from that paint stripper that I didn't get off right away, and it kind of soaked in. And even with sanding, I would have had to done some serious sanding to get down below that stuff, but it's fine. You know, it's going to be getting chips and oil and everything else on it, so what the heck, right? The linseed oil is still drying. I mean, it's dried to the touch, but you can tell it's still outgassing. I don't know if this stuff really ever dries. You can recoat it as needed. So hopefully that's the right thing to put on there. We'll find out. Okay, so hopefully our next step, which hopefully we'll be getting to relatively quick, is to get this shaper up on the stand and start doing our assessment, teardowns, cleanups, and so forth. Yeah, so it'll be much easier, you know, having it up on the stand rather than trying to work on it down here. So anyways, thanks everybody for sticking with this, and we will see you soon. All right.